so much, Professor Michel Waldschmidt, for agreeing to talk to us. This is the oral history interview to document the history of Indo-French scientific partnership. And you've been a very instrumental and important person in the partnership. So today, Professor Waldschmidt will be talking about the history of Indo-French partnership in mathematics. And I would like to invite you, sir, to start your lecture. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So I will share my screen.
Yes.
I thank you for this invitation. I find this program very interesting. It's a very good idea to start such a program, and it is an honor for me to participate. So I am glad to speak on this topic. It's something which is dear to my heart, and I will explain it to you. So thank you very much for this invitation, Pranav, and it's a pleasure for me to speak of the Indo-French cooperation in mathematics. I would like to start by speaking a little bit of the tradition of mathematics in India and in France, and to make some comparison. And I will start rather early. I will not go to the Veda. I will go to the 7th century with the work of Brahmagupta. It's a period in which mathematics in the country, which is France now, was not very active. But in India, it was quite active. And Brahmagupta wrote a book, which is the opening of the universe in 628. Among many things which are in this Brahmaputra Siddhanta, there is the solution of what we call the equation x squared minus 92y squared equal 1, which means that we want a number which has a square, which is 92 times another square plus 1. And he found what turns out to be the smallest solution, which is given by 1151 for x and 120 for y. You see, it's rather large numbers. And the method that he used involved the composition method, which he called the Samasa, which is called now the Brahmagupta identity. And this is quite remarkable that he was able to do that. So it was in 628. Much later, Bhaskaracharya commented about this work, and he developed the method. And he used the method Chakravala, which is due to Brahmagupta, and he solved another equation with a number which is slightly smaller than Brahmagupta. Brahmagupta had 92 and he took 61, which is smaller. But it turned out that the smallest solution is much larger. You see that for y, it is 226 million. And for x, it is, of course, much larger. And so you can understand that they did not find this kind of solution by brute force. They had to have a very strong and powerful method to solve such equation. There are other examples, like the one of Narayana Pandit, a little bit later in the 14th century, who solved the equation with 103. There is a lot of things to say about Indian mathematics, and I give here a small list of references which are reliable. There are many references to Indian mathematics which are not considered as very serious by historians of mathematics, but the ones which are there are very accurate. Another reference is a book by André Weil, and I will come back to André Weil just a little bit later, An Approach Through History from Hammurapi to Legendre. And he discussed the Chakravala method of Brahmagupta with some detail, comparing with the method which were known in the West, with the work especially of Fermat. The equation x squared minus dy squared equal 1 is called Pell-Fermat equation, and this name was given by Euler, and many people say that Euler mistakenly attributed Bronkner's work to the equation of on this equation to Pell. Well, there is some controversy. Maybe Euler knew what he was doing in naming this equation, because there is some work of Pell which is related with this equation. Anyway, this is the so-called Brahmagupta-Pell-Fermat equation, so that everybody is happy with this name. So this occurs much later than Brahmagupta in the correspondence from Pierre de Fermat to Bronkner, and also in a letter of Fermat to Frénicle de Bessy. Fermat was working in number theory in France, and he used to give some challenges to the colleagues to whom he was writing, and he wrote to Bronkner, would you be able to solve this equation? And he gave the two equations with 61 that we have seen already, and 109. And he said, I took two numbers which are not too large in such a way that it is not too difficult. But Fermat knew what he was doing, because the two values that he gives, 61 and 109, are two of the small values for which the smallest solution is extremely large. You see, it's something which is interesting. I will not go further in this topic, but depending on the number that you take for D, you can take 61 and 109, and you see that you have very large solution. The smallest one is very large. But if you take 220, the smallest solution is 18 for Y. And for 2021, it's 1012. And for 2022, it's 30 square. So if you send some wishes to some friends, you can ask them to solve the two equations which are there. This equation has a long history with Euler. I mentioned it already. And the finite solution was given by Lagrange in the 18th century. So I mentioned some work of the Indian mathematicians. These works are not very well known in Europe, and in particular in France. And there is a tradition of mathematics in India, which is very old, and which was earlier than what was done in the West. In particular, with the Kerala School of Mathematics, which was very active in the 14th and to the 17th century. And one of the names is Madhava. And they did some very deep work. And this work anticipated what was done much later in the West. For example, Madhava was able to give 11 decimal digits for the number pi, while Viet could obtain only 9 digits, and by a quite different method. Viet used the perimeter of the polygon with the number of sides, which is 393,000, and it was the method which was used by the Greek mathematicians. But Madhava did it in a quite different way, because he used a series for pi. And series is something which was introduced much later in Europe, like Newton, 3 centuries later. So Madhava knew formulae like this, which came to be known in Europe much later. Okay, I told you I would like to compare the French tradition with the Indian one. If you think to French mathematician, one of the main names is Henri Poincaré, who was a universal mathematician, also physicist, engineer, and philosopher of science. And you can think of Bourbaki. And among the Bourbaki members, the founders, one of them was André Weil, who is here. And the kind of mathematics that they produced is quite different from the one which was developed in India, and in particular with Ramanujan. Ramanujan is a very interesting character. It's the main character in the Indian mathematics. And he said that an equation has no meaning unless it expresses a thought of God. And well, there are a lot of things to say about Ramanujan, but it's just to say that the Indian mathematics tradition is very different from the French one. Now, for the connection between French mathematicians and Indian mathematicians, one of the early participants character is André Weil. André Weil was invited by the Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University to teach Indology and to teach Sanskrit, because André Weil was fond of Sanskrit. And he wanted to go to India, and so he decided to go there to have a chair of Sanskrit, but after that, this was converted to a chair in mathematics. And he reached India in early 1930, and he stayed there for more than 2 years. I met the daughter of André Weil. I met André Weil also, but what his daughter told me is that the reason for which André Weil wanted to go to India was partly because he had a very authoritative mother, and he wanted to quit his mother for some time. And so he went to India partly for this reason. Also, of course, because he was interested with Sanskrit. This was another reason for which he decided to go to India, and he spent 2 years there. Among the colleagues of André Weil was Vijayaraghavan. And Vijayaraghavan is a very strong mathematician. He became director of the Ramanujan Institute in Madras. But he's well known in number theory because there are the numbers which are called PV numbers, and the V is for Vijayaraghavan, and the P is for Piso. Piso was a colleague of mine in the University of Paris 6, and they introduced some numbers which they studied, and independently one of the other. So after his stay in India, they wrote 2 reports. The first one was at the end of his first year there, and he suggested action for the improvement of Indian mathematics. And the second one, which was much later, 5 years later, after the first one, he deals with the potential of this country and the possibility for India to soon take one of the leading places in the international mathematical community. This was quite true, because we will see that the Tata Institute was created a few years later and was instrumental in making India to be one of the strong places in the international mathematical community. The references to this report of André Weil are given here, and you can find them in the scientific work of André Weil, and also in his book, Souvenirs d'apprentissage, which has been translated into English. But André Weil was the first to have a strong connection between India and France, but it is not his visit, his 2 years that he spent in India, which were very important for the collaboration between French and Indian mathematicians. The most important character was Father Racine. Father Racine was a Jesuit, a missionary, and he took his doctorate in mathematics in Paris in 1934. And 3 years later, he reached India. He first taught at Tiruchirappalli, St. Joseph's College, and after that at Loyola College in Madras, which is now Chennai. Altogether, he spent 42 years in India. And being in India, he still had connection with many important French mathematicians of that time, like Hadamard, Leray, Weil, and Cartan. So he reached India in 1930. He reached India in 1937, which is written here. He got his thesis in 1934, and recently someone asked me whether it would be possible to get a copy of his thesis. So I inquired with the National Library, la Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris. And it was possible to get it, but we had to pay and it was a bit complicated. And then I found that it was available for free. It is on this NUMDAM project. So I downloaded it and you can download it very easily. There was an international conference on teaching and research in mathematics for the birth centenary celebration of Father Racine in 1997. When I tried to get some information on Father Racine, I contacted the Société des Jésuites, and I got a very interesting document, which is a letter written by the rector of Loyola College in 1946. So you see, in 1946, Father Racine was already in India since 9 years. And from this letter, it is clear that the beginning of his stay, even after 9 years, was a bit complicated and not as successful as he was hoping. So I did not translate it myself, but maybe someone will translate it. I just copied it. And the Father Souza, the rector, wrote, I do not know to whom he wrote, but to someone in Paris. And he said, Le Père Grangeneuve asked me confidentially whether I thought that Father Racine should go back to India after his visit in Europe. And he said, it's difficult to answer to this question in a very clear way. He said that Father Racine wanted to have a very great stay in India, but he had an idea of India which was much above the reality. And it is really deceiving. He could not adjust to the reality. He was not optimistic. And maybe he thought that he could come back to Europe if something suitable is given to him. And then Father Souza continues by saying he could not adjust here because he does not understand certain sides of the Indian psychology. He looks at the students as if they were some young students from Paris, and he's expecting from them some natural reaction, some reaction which are natural in the European circles. He makes some remarks and criticism in front of them, and what he suggests them is sometimes counterproductive, but he does not realize that. So if given this situation and given his family situation, he wants to stay in Europe, and if you expect that he would do something good in Europe, he should not be, we should not ask him to come back, but he could stay in Europe. But on the other side, if you look at the situation with looking a little bit better, and if he is ready to be more patient with the people and the situation, if he is not so strict in his judgment, and if he wishes to resume, then we could allow him to come back. He has very good personal qualities, and he may be doing something nice. So it's quite interesting because you see, he had a difficult start, and we know now that he came back, fortunately, and his stay was very successful. I will mention some of his students. At that time, in 1946, they were 14 years old, so they did not know him yet. And it's really a chance that Father Racine decided to go back. So he had an erudition which was clear from his lectures, and he was not using the traditional way of teaching, but he had a broad interest. And at that time, Madras was the best place in India for studying mathematics and starting into research, which was not common in other places. Seshadri told me that he was not a good teacher in the classroom, but he was a great teacher, and he was very influential with his students. He taught them, the students, to read recent books, for example, the one of Schwartz on distribution, which was quite new at that time. He wrote also to the French mathematician Leray. He commended the names of Seshadri and Narasimhan to his attention. And he got the Légion d'honneur in 1962. And it's clear that he remained, he liked very much India more than France. So I collected the list of names of his students, and to the best students he had, he suggested them to join the newly founded Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Bombay. And Chandrasekaran was the head at that time. And this is why so many mathematicians from that generation who were the leader in the Tata Institute came from Tamil Nadu. So I gave here a list of names, which is very impressive. They are all very great mathematicians. And I will especially speak of Narasimhan and Seshadri. Both mathematicians passed away very recently. Narasimhan passed away a few months ago, and he was the head of the research group at the International Center of Theoretical Physics in Trieste from 1993 to 1999. He wrote an interesting paper, The Coming of Age of Mathematics in India. And the second one was Narasimhan. Narasimhan visited France in the 60s under the invitation of Laurent Schwartz. And so he met many mathematicians who were very influential. And an interesting story, which is explained by Ramanan in his paper, Narasimhan, the Man and the Mathematician, is that Narasimhan contracted pleurisy during his time in France. He went to the hospital, and he said that Narasimhan himself said that this incident exposed him to the real France and strengthened his leftist sympathies, which were already triggered by this interaction with the Trotskyist Schwartz, Laurent Schwartz. The other student of Father Racine, who passed away last year, is Seshadri. Seshadri got his he got his thesis in Bombay, but he went to Paris during 3 years, from 57 to 60. So like Narasimhan, both of them were speaking French fluently. And they had the strong influence of the mathematics in Paris, which made some strong links between India and French mathematicians. So Narasimhan and Seshadri were among the first graduate students of the School of Mathematics headed by Chandrasekaran. I will come back to Seshadri a little bit later when I speak of the CMI, Chennai Mathematical Institute. I want to mention two papers which were written by Raghunathan, MS Raghunathan. One is Artless Innocence and Ivory Tower Sophisticates, some personalities of the Indian mathematical scene, and another paper, which is India and the World of Mathematics, which was published for the International Congress of Mathematicians in 2010 in Hyderabad. So I mentioned the Tata Institute for Fundamental Research, and I said that among the best students that were appointed to the Tata Institute were the former students of Father Racine. The creation of the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Bombay is due to a physicist of the Indian Institute of Science of Bangalore, Homi Bhabha, who had political support from Nehru and financial support from the Tatas. And Tata, an ancestor, a member of the family in the 19th century, was at the origin of the creation of the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. The goal of Bhabha was that India acquires nuclear power. And for that, it was necessary to have a strong school in physics of high level. And for that, it was necessary to have a strong mathematical research school. So this is how the Tata Institute took place. And right after its creation, many influential French mathematicians visited the Tata Institute of Bombay and gave courses. In the 60s, Laurent Schwartz visited it several times. And then there were Cartan, Bruat, Cossul, Samuel, Malgrange, Dieudonné, Gabriel de Mazur, Douady. And also later, Weil and Grothendieck visited the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. So this explains the influence of French mathematics to India. I told you that Seshadri was the creator, the founder of the Chennai Mathematical Institute. The Chennai Mathematical Institute started at the initiative of Seshadri as the SPIC Science Foundation. SPIC is the Southern Petrochemical Industries Corporation, which is one of the major industrial houses in India. And the goal was to foster the growth of science and technology in the country. So in 1996, the School of Mathematics became an independent institution and changed its name to the SPIC Mathematical Institute. And then in 1998, it was renamed as the Chennai Mathematical Institute. It is a center of excellence for teaching and research in the mathematical sciences, which is of a very high level. Several of the students of this institute have been got some position, some scholarship to come to France, and they were selected with a very challenging competition, international competition, and so they are really of a very high level. There is an agreement between the Chennai Mathematical Institute and the École Normale Supérieure, and the history of this challenge, this agreement is quite interesting because it started in 2000 when Seshadri visited Paris, and I was with him and with Pierre Cartier and with Étienne Guyon. Étienne Guyon was at that time the head of the École Normale Supérieure, and Pierre Cartier suggested the following. He said, in both institutes, CMI and ENS, you have some very strong students. Why don't they visit each other? And this is the agreement, MOU. And every year since 2000, some 3 young students from the École Normale Supérieure visit the CMI for 2 months and deliver courses to the undergraduate students of CMI. And on the other side, 3 students from CMI visit ENS, the École Normale Supérieure, for 2 months. I think this is a quite interesting activity because it means that very young mathematicians, students who are going to become mathematicians, know each other, they get some friendship, and then they will continue to get some relation for many years. And so this is quite remarkable, I think. There are a lot of connection between French and India with several agreements, MOU, and several programs. One of them was the Programme International de Coopération Scientifique of the CNRS, the Centre International de la Recherche Scientifique, and it played a leading role in algebraic geometry and in theoretical partial differential equation. One of the directors responsible was Jean-Louis Verdier. A report on this cooperation was published in the Gazette des Mathematiciens in 1991 and another report in 1997. And there were already a lot of activities at that time. In applied mathematics, one of the main characters was Jacques-Louis Lyons, who visited India many times when he was the head of the INRIA, the Institut National de Recherche en Informatique et Automatique in Rocancourt. And he developed close relations with several Indian institutions, the IISc in Bangalore, the IIT in Delhi, and the main topic was partial differential equation in the Bangalore section of the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Bangalore. There was another program which was headed by Olivier Pironneau, a colleague of mine in Paris 6, and it started in September 1997. It was a Master of Scientific Calculus, which was created at the University of Pondichéry. And there was also some agreement with IISc Bangalore, TIFR Bangalore, and IIT in India. And this program was supported by CEFIPRA or IFCEPAR. I will come back to this institute. Also the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Pôle de Recherche Commun d'Assaut Aviation, Université de Paris 6. The coordination of the inter-French cooperation in mathematics was done by several mathematicians. I mentioned Jean-Louis Verdier. When Jean-Louis Verdier passed away, I did it with Jean-Louis Colliot-Hélène, and after that, it was done by Gilles Lachaud. What we did at that time was to have a website with a database that we collected. And what we did is that we had a call for application, which was permanent, always open. And we collected the proposal of cooperation before there was some support to fund them. And then as soon as we knew that there were some possibilities to get some funds, we had in the database some proposal which we could implement immediately, because sometimes the deadline was quite short. And so we were ready to coordinate this cooperation. That was quite efficient. Now there are so many activities that there is no much cooperation uniform, but it goes in many different ways, and we will see that. One of the main tools to support the scientific cooperation in mathematics between India and France is the CEFIPRA, Indo-French Center for the Promotion of Advanced Research, Centre franco-indien pour la promotion de la recherche avancée. Mathematics is a small part of this program, and this program is really very important for the cooperation between France and India in science, not only in mathematics, but in all of science. So it's a bilateral program under the Department of Science and Technology of the Government of India and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the government of France. I have looked at the annual report. The more recent one that I found was 2019 and up to 2020. On the website, there is nothing more recent. But for this period of 2019-2020, there is one which is completed now on the p-adic aspect of automorphic forms and L functions. And it was headed by Raghuram and Dimitrov. And another which was completed just in January by Ghosh and Nogueira on interaction between dynamical system, geometry, and number theory. And there are two activities, two projects which are going on. One on high performance formation control in the presence of uncertainties and communication constraint, and the other one on maximal abelian subalgebra in operator algebra. CEFIPRA plays really a very important role in funding cooperation in mathematics and in science between France and India. Among the many institutes or objects which help the cooperation, I will mention a few of them. It may not be always up to date. I visited the website and I give each time it's possible some link in such a way that you can get more information. The Inter-French Institute of Mathematics, IFIM, is a virtual institute which was created in 2003 with the support of the National Board for Higher Mathematics and the Department of Science and Technology on the Indian side, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the CNRS on the French side. So it provides support, financial support for doctoral, postdoctoral, and research position. And there are many activities, students who go in one direction or the other. And so the cooperation is quite strong, thanks to that. There is also the Centre Franco-Indien pour les Mathématiques, LIA, Laboratoire International, which plays an important role under the CNRS. There is the International Research Program, IRP, in the French program in mathematics. It is completed now, and it was headed by Balasubramanian and Philippon. And there were a lot of exchanges between France and India under this scheme. There is the Indo-French Center for Applied Mathematics, IRL, International Research Laboratory, which has a lot of activities also. I would like to mention the UMI RELAX, Unité Mixte Internationale Franco-Indienne en Informatique, with the director who is Madhavan Mukund, and the deputy director is Pascal Veil. It involves the University of Bordeaux, the École Normale Supérieure Paris-Saclay, and the CMI in India, and the IMSC, the Institute of Mathematical Sciences. Both of them are in Chennai. The main objective of the Indo-European collaboration on moduli spaces, so it is RRSES, is to establish new collaboration and reinforce existing collaboration between Europe and India in the field of moduli spaces, and as well as training young researchers. And it is done through exchange of experience and early stage research. They organize conferences, specialized workshops, and schools. It's called the Marie Curie International Research Staff Exchange Scheme, IRSES. It is in the 7th European Framework Program, so it's European, but we can say that France was one of the leading partners in Europe, and Spain was also quite active. There was a conference of the Indo-French program in mathematics, which was organized in the Institute of Mathematical Science in Chennai, and it was organized by Sinou David, who was the former deputy scientific director of the Institut National des Sciences Mathématiques et leurs Interactions. I would like to mention in applied mathematics, the Indo-French Center, the director of which is Rangarajan, and he's from Bangalore. And on this website, you will see an interview that he gave, and the answer to the following question: mathematicians can also address real-world problems while being in academics. And he says that India and France share a profound fascination for mathematics. André Weil, Father Racine, followed by several other French mathematicians, have interacted with India right from the 1930. However, a structured entity, the prestigious International Mixed Unit, UMI, the Indo-French Center for Applied Mathematics, came into existence in 2012. There are many MOU. Some are over. I collected a few of them, but it would be interesting to have updated the collection of them. I mentioned this one, which is between the University of Pondicherry in India and the universities of Paris 6 and Poitiers, because Paris 6 was my university. Now it's called the Sorbonne University, but it's the same university. And during a number of years, there were many scientific exchanges under this agreement, with the strong support of the French embassy in Delhi. There was another one also involving the University of Paris 6, but not with Pondicherry. It was with Chennai, CMI, and IMSC. And one item which I like very much is that this MOU followed a recommendation of the Committee for Developing Countries of the French Academy of Sciences. And the idea is that there will be some exchange of teaching duties between mathematicians from France, Paris 6, and mathematicians from India. So this means that 2 professors from Paris 6 go to CMI each year to teach a graduate program for 1 term each. And I participated to this program, and it's very good to have courses to the students which are given by professors from another country, and it was from my university in this case. There are many other sources of funding which has been used. There is some agreement with the Academy of Sciences. There is some agreement with the National Board of Higher Mathematics and the Indian National Science Academy in New Delhi. So there are many fund possibilities which are used and which make a very rich cooperation between them. There are also some scholarship for young mathematicians to pursue their studies in France. And this includes co-tutel thesis, co-direction of thesis. And you can get more information on with the Campus France, EGIT, the Centre National des Œuvres Universitaires et Scolaires, ONICEP, and the Centre de Ressources et de Prospectives des Grandes Écoles et Ingénieurs de Gestion. So there are many sources for this support. I wish to mention the Centre International de Mathématiques Pures et Appliquées, CIMPA, which I already mentioned, which is a non-profit international organization which was established in Nice in 1978. The aim is to promote international cooperation in higher education and research in mathematics and related subjects. And it was created at the request of UNESCO. And among the activities, one of the main ones was to organize research schools. And several of these research schools took place in India. The first one was in 1996. And there have been a lot of them. You have here a small list of these schools. I started in 2002, and then it goes up to 2022. And you see that even if I do not give all the details, you see that they took place in many different places, including Shillong, for example. I participated to this, I gave a course there. But other places like Kanpur, Varanasi, and Kolkata, and on many different topics. And these schools are for students from the country, India, and also for neighboring countries. And they have a very strong influence on the development of mathematics in developing countries. I started by giving some mathematics. I would like to have 3 slides on mathematics, not more, to explain that this cooperation between France and India gave some very good results, not only with the students who were formed by going to the other country, but also in terms of progress in mathematics and some new results. A spectacular result was obtained by Balasubramanian, Desouliers, and Dresse. So Balasubramanian is here, Desouliers here, and François Dresse here, when they solved a problem which go back to 1770. Waring suggested that every integer is a cube, or the sum of 2, 3, up to 9 cubes. And this was proved shortly after. But he said also that every integer is the square of a square, what we call the 4th power, or the sum of up to 19 such. We write it now, G of 4 is 19. So this was suggested by Edward Waring in 1970, and it was proved only in 1996, thanks to the cooperation between France and India. It's a joint work. The next one is the Serre modularity conjecture. I will not explain what it is. It's much more difficult to explain, but it was suggested by Jean-Pierre Serre, and it was proved by Chandrasekhar Khare and Jean-Pierre Vintemberger in a remarkable paper which really is due to this cooperation. So I announced 3 papers on mathematics. The third one is the work of Ramachandra. And I would like now to say a few words on my own experience with India. My first visit to India was in 1976. I was invited by Professor Ramachandra, who got his PhD in 1965 in Bombay, and he joined the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research from 1965 to 1995. And so it was during the time he was professor that he invited me. After that, he went to the National Institute of Advanced Studies in Bangalore. In 1968, Ramachandra published a very important paper, Contributions to the Theory of Transcendental Numbers. In this paper, he starts by acknowledging the help of Siegel. And in fact, Siegel gave some very important course at the TIFR. So Ramachandra knew Siegel. And Siegel gave some very good advice to Ramachandra. And my thesis, my PhD thesis in 1972 was based partly on this paper of Ramachandra. And this is why Ramachandra invited me to visit India. So this is really my first visit to India. And I came in love of India, and I came back many times after that. In particular, I had 2 visits in 2006 and 2007 under the program French Science Today of the Embassy of France in India and the Alliance Française. The idea was that French scientists visit India during, say, 2 weeks and give some lectures in several centers, mainly for the students. And the idea is to attract some students from India to continue their studies in France. So I visited a number of places, and it was really very interesting to visit all these places. It was organized by the Alliance Française. I visited Indore, Bhopal, Chandigarh, Delhi, Ranchi, Kolkata, and Chennai. So some of these are very well-known places, like the Birla Planetarium in Kolkata. Some others are not so well-known, but it was quite interesting for me to visit them. And I wrote a report that you can read. And so it was organized by the French embassy. So this was in 2006, and I repeated it in 2007, but with some other places from October 17 to November 10 in 2007. And I visited Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Guwahati, Bangalore, Trivandrum, and Chennai. And each time I gave some lectures in some places like the Birla Science Center in Hyderabad, but also in some universities. So this was really a very interesting experience. After that, the lady who was in charge of that in the French embassy got a position in Pakistan, and I did a similar activity in Pakistan a few years later. I mentioned the Institut des Hautes Études Scientifiques because I was asked to be India advisor for the IHES. My role in this is 2 sides. One is to attract some high-level scientists to visit IHES. And so it's not difficult for me to first identify them and then to convince them to come to IHES, because it's a very nice place to visit and spend some time. And the other side of my duty is not so successful, which was to attract some funds from private industries in India to support the IHES. And this is not exactly the kind of thing which I am very good in doing, but I did my best. Now, I would like to say a few more things about my personal involvement with India. I will participate to a conference in the Kerala School of Mathematics in October at the end of this month. International Conference on Class Group and of Number Fields and Related Topics. I will also participate to the annual conference of the Indian Mathematical Society, which will take place in December, from the 4th to the 7th of December. I hope to be in India at that time, but the conference will be online, so I hope to attend this conference from the IMSC in Chennai, if everything goes smoothly, because I plan to visit IMSC in December this year. I will give a lecture in this conference in December, and the lecture which I will give is on Lydston interpolation. I mentioned that because I learned what was Lydston interpolation when I attended a conference on special functions and application in 2018. I gave a course there, a lecture, and then I was the chairman of a lecture by M.A. Patan, and M.A. Patan spoke of Lydston interpolation. I did not know what it was before, but after his lecture, this has been one of my main research topics. And so this is another personal example of cooperation between France and India, which is quite successful. So I just give a few references on the Indo-French cooperation in mathematics. There was an issue of the mathematics newsletter of the Ramanujan Mathematical Society, and there was a conference which took place, a seminar which took place organized by CEFIPRA in 1913. So this was in 1913. Of course, it would be good to update all the information which is there. So with this, I think I will stop, and I wish to thank again Pranav Sharma for organizing this interview and this lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a very, very informative talk. It was, I mean, most of the things that you talked about, I had no idea about this. And the way you took it, the way you traced it from the beginning of mathematics in both the countries to how it is going on right now is of great value. Thank you very much. And I think there are just a few questions that come to my mind. One of them being, how do you think the relationship of mathematics, the cooperation, was shaped by the relationship that the mathematicians shared?
Yes, you see, this cooperation, well, as you know, because this is the theme of what you are organizing, this cooperation is very active in many parts of science. And in mathematics, what is clear is that the driving force was the personal relation between mathematicians from both countries. Of course, it was possible to have this personal interaction because there were some funding. This was necessary for the people to travel. But the fact that there were personal connection, starting with Father Racine and then with former students of Father Racine who came to Paris, spent several years there and got some personal connection with French mathematicians. This was really the main point which explains why cooperation in mathematics is so strong between these two countries.
Thank you so much, sir. It was delightful to talk to you.